As a customer, you need to know that 99% of all dealerships are going to lie to you about this one question. It's a big lie. Average American is going to spend between $60,000 and $40,000 on their next new car. But what they don't realize is how they can completely get destroyed by the finance and insurance office. Don't forget to stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to tell you about the one big lie that 99% of all dealerships will tell their customers. So the reason I came up with the idea for this video is I wanted to talk to the people out there that are going to actually be financing through the dealership. I've talked in the past about going to your bank or credit union to get your loan squared away. But if you don't have that as an option, either your credit's not so good and you have to go through the dealer, or maybe the dealership has their own subvented rate through the manufacturer, like a 1.9 or 2.9. This video is for you guys because you're going to really have to deal one-on-one with the finance manager rather than just dropping off a check and riding off in the sunset. So I've got three big questions that you need to ask the finance manager that may or may not really make their day. In fact, it's kind of like you asking to see their internet browsing history. They're those kind of questions. So the first question that you're going to want to ask them is, what's my base monthly payment? And most likely they're going to say, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Okay, so the base monthly payment is the price, the out-the-door price of the car, the term, and the interest rate plugged in. That gives you a base monthly payment. A lot of times, and this happened in a lot of stores I worked in, the desk manager would include, packed into the payment, an extended warranty. It's not totally uncommon. And that's why a lot of times they will give you a payment range. Your payment's going to be between $400 or $450 and $500. You're going to have to talk to the finance manager to get all the details. What happens to a lot of people is they don't even question it. They go in, their payment's $450 a month. They don't read all their paperwork, and they get home and they look at their contract finally, and they see they've paid $3,000 for an extended warranty. So you need to have the finance manager slow down, show you the base monthly payment with no additional adds to it. That's going to make them be more transparent, and they're going to have to be upfront from you about everything from that point on. So establishing that base monthly payment is going to do a lot for you. So the next question that you need to ask, and this sounds funny, when they're going through all of their big spiel with the products and services, they'll probably have a menu that they're going to show option A, option B, option C, and they're going to have all kinds of products and services laid out for you. You need to ask them, what do they really cost? What is the true dollar amount of that extended warranty? When I was a finance manager, I was trained to focus on one thing and one thing only with the customer, and that's the monthly payment. See, Mr. Customer, this extended warranty goes for 6 years, and it only costs $47 a month. Well, that's really easy to digest as opposed to saying, well, this is going to cost you $3,000. You need to slow them down and find out exactly what everything costs and if it makes sense to you. $47 a month at 60 months is roughly $3,000. So you need to find out, is this extended warranty that's only going to cover me for 2 years after the regular warranty expires, is it really worth it to pay an additional $1,500 a year to have that 2 years worth of coverage? For most people, myself included, I don't think it's a great idea. So from that point, you really need to look at it from every angle and make sure you understand everything and how much everything costs. And the other part about this is the finance department, their profit margins are pretty good. I mean, 100, 200, 300% on some products and services that they offer. So that's the other thing, is by knowing what the actual cost of the product is, you could potentially negotiate a better price on that if you're truly interested in it, because I know the margins for those products are a lot better than they are in the front half of the store. Hey, if anybody's bought a car in recent memory, please leave me a comment down in the description. I'd like to know what your feedback was, and I'd like to know what your experience has been with the dealer. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, okay? So the third question that you need to ask, and this one is a doozy, it's nuclear, okay? And you're not always going to get the same result by asking this question, but what you need to ask them is, I need to see the bank approval on my loan, and watch them do a little tap dance. They're going to do everything that they can not to show you the bank approval, because most likely in most stores I worked in, we had a buy rate and a sell rate. Buy rate is what they get from the bank. The The sell rate is what they pass on to the customer, and it's typically 1 to 2 points. So buy rate of 6%, sell rate of 8%. If you're financing a lot of money, it could be a couple grand in profit for the store for them doing virtually nothing. They want to hold that information close to their vest. They are probably not going to want to show it to you. But just by you asking this question, it is going to force them to think, maybe I should do something about the interest rate. Maybe I should lower it. I had a friend of mine that was buying a car a couple of weeks ago, and he asked this question, and the finance department, the manager, lowered his interest rate by him just asking it, because they were scared that they were going to lose a customer over showing them the interest rate. So it's important that you ask that question. It's going to make the finance guy really uncomfortable, but it's going to maybe answer a lot of questions for you, and it's also going to give you an idea whether or not they are actually holding reserve on your purchase. Is when you ask to see the bank approval, you're going to know whether or not you're actually approved for that loan. In a lot of the stores that I worked in, we didn't send anything to the bank out until after the customer left. We used an educated guess. We sent it to the bank, and if we had to recontract the customer later on because the interest rate came in higher, then we would do it. In some states, you cannot, it's called yo-yo financing. I never agreed with it. I hated doing it, but it is what it is. But by asking to see the approval on their deal, you're going to know right away whether or not you're actually approved. So you'll have peace of mind of knowing they're not going to have to call you back for anything else. So that's another reason to ask for it. Okay, so I have a tip here for you. And it's pretty important, and in the days that we live in, it's really kind of vital that you do it. When you're at the car dealership, do not discuss anything with your salespeople or the sales manager that's financial, unless there's you're in an office and there's a door to the office. You do not want your private information just floating out there. And the reason why is you don't know who's sitting in the office next to you. You don't know if the guy at the parts counter can hear you. You just don't want that information vocalized out there. You know, your name, your social, your birth date, any of that sensitive private information you want to keep personal. In this day and age, with all of the identity theft and all of the fraud going on, you need to do everything that you can to protect yourself. So it's very important. Take that tip. Do not share your personal information, and just keep everything to yourself. Unless you're inside in a closed office. Okay, so what's the big lie? Okay, the big lie is this: you get with the finance department, you sign all your paperwork, you're ready to go, and on your way out of the office, you go, "Mr. Finance Guy, is there any prepayment penalty if I pay this loan off early or if I refinance it?" And 99% of the time, they're going to say to you, "You know what, just make 6 to 9 payments on it. Make sure the loan gets established. That way there's any additional charges or anything. And then you can pay it off or refinance it." This is an absolute 100% bold-faced lie. What they should be telling you is, "You know what, Mr. Customer, I made a ton of money on you on the reserve on your contract. And if you pay it off early, I'm going to get charged back that money, and I'm going to make less money on my paycheck." Dealerships make money off of that rate markup that I talked about earlier. And if the loan is paid off within 60 to 90 days, typically, the dealership gets charged back 100% of that reserve profit. So by them telling you, just keep the car for 6 to 9 months, but pay on it for 6 to 9 months, that's a way of getting you to basically pay them money to do nothing. So this is a lie. Do not fall for it. Know going in that they're probably, if you ask them this question, they're probably going to lie to you for sure. It's pretty much time that we actually talk about these finance departments for what they are inside the dealership. They are salesmen that know how to do state and federal paperwork, that have a printer, they're wearing a tie. Their number one job at the dealership is to sell products and services to the customers and to collect finance reserve when it's applicable. That is their only job. These are salespeople. These are not attorneys. They don't have law degrees. They're not accountants. They're great salespeople, but there are none of these other things. So just know going in, These are number one salespeople, and they're there for one thing and one thing only, and it is that to make pure profit for the store. That's the most important thing to them. So now that you know a little bit about how the finance department works and what questions to ask, because knowledge is power, you really need to watch this next video, because this one is a really good one. This is like 8 things that finance really hates to hear. So please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Helps the channel out greatly. So we will catch you on the next one, and goodbye.